Thanks to Ubisoft ANZ, I had the exclusive opportunity to interview two of the devs for Star Wars Outlaws, Cloe Hammoud, the Associate World Director, and Marthe Jonkers, the Associate Art Director. This is a really great interview where I asked some fantastic questions about what we can expect from the open world in Star Wars Outlaws, some more information about Nix and Kay as characters, as well as their progression, and some of those other elements that we can expect in the game, plus a really fun question at the end. I think you guys are going to like this. Let's go.
I'm Marthe, I'm Associate Art Director for Star Wars Outlaws, and I oversee the visual design of the characters like Kay and Nix and the syndicates that you can see here and all the scum and villainy that you will encounter in the underworld. My favorite Star Wars character is Nix.
I feel like it's a little maybe a little biased, but I like the answer.
Might be biased,
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Chloe. I'm Associate World Director on Star Wars Outlaws, and I drive and oversee the creation of the different planets, but also the orbital regions that players will be able to explore. My favorite character, honestly, that's a tricky one. I think it's gonna come out a little bit funny, but we've designed for Star Wars Outlaws numerous different wildlife, and I'm gonna say that the one that I like is Kijimi Rat. Again, it might sound a bit funny, but I'm eager for players to see them in Kijimi City.
They're just like little vermin in the city that run around.
But they are cute, honestly. They
Yeah.
have this alien element to them that makes them really, really cute.
Awesome. I guess we'll start there with the world and the open world. In the content that we saw today, we didn't get to see too much of the open world and sort of how that's going to work. Do you have anything about like the activities we might be doing in the open world, what we can sort of expect when we are sort of exploring around the planets?
Sure. So the way we crafted this world, because again, as massive entertainment, we have the expertise to create open world as we've done in the past. But for Star Wars, that was a different challenge for sure. But that was a lot of fun. What we wanted to show to players is the world through three different experiences. So having the opportunity to explore space and having dogfights, I think everyone has dreamt of that. And maybe you played that as well this morning in the first quest. But also having the opportunity to navigate across back alleys, discover cantinas, overhear conversations in this hub of activities, but also having the opportunity to use your speeder, go across the open world and stumble onto, I don't know, faction territory, a mysterious location, use your grapple, access some weird areas. And this is the diversity we wanted to provide to players.
So I guess in terms of the diversity and the planets themselves, like I'm sure you would have done a lot of work in diversifying those environments and between the different planets that you might interact with and you know, as you are exploring, was there a lot of work that went into sort of the art compared to each planet? Say, you know, you looked at this planet as, for lack of a better term, this is, you know, the fire planet, right? We've all seen fire planets in Star Wars, and then you looked at the next one as something different. Was there a lot of consideration into that?
Yeah, so for the biomes and different planets that we have, we really wanted to leverage that scoundrel fantasy. That's what Star Wars Outlaws is all about. You're going as Kay Vess with Nix into the underworld, so we really try to have diverse locations for you to actually be able to experience that. And it's also in the design of the characters, for example. A lot of effort went into, and a lot of attention and care went into the design of them, that they fit with the planets they are living on. For example, Kijimi, it's extremely cold there. So characters will have different clothing there. And also different color palettes. And the same goes for Toshara, same goes for Akiva. So you will be able to really see that this is a lived-in galaxy, and the characters fit where they're living, and you'll be able to explore that as Kay, who is a scoundrel, is a thief who has her own tools because she is a thief. She has a hairpin that's actually a lockpick that she's using like that. She made it herself, and she's hiding it in her hair. So, so we put a lot of care into these details to really make this feel like a really lived-in, alive galaxy. Very believable, very grounded, but still have that alien twist to it. And definitely leaning into that original trilogy vibe that I hope you experienced when you were playing the demo this morning. That's really what we went for.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely experienced that. I think the hair clip is a really like fun, just like little detail about like her character development and like, you know, how she's found her way in this world and you know, not everything that she uses is, you know, off the top shelf. I think that's a really cool detail. You mentioned like the space and dogfighting. Can we expect sort of any space exploration as well? Sort of, you know, we would be exploring on the planets, but will there be things to find in space outside of combat?
Yeah, sure. And this is how we design this space region, is making sure, of course, they belong to their planet, but they have also very different specificities to offer this sense of progression, this sense of discovery to the players. So, of course, you will be able to upgrade your ship, and you will have to because you want to go further, you want to do more things and explore different areas and having dogfights where you are stronger, but also having the opportunity for players to see different part of space that were not necessarily seen before. So this is what we went for as well, is showing all of this diversity, using your ship, smuggling contraband, but also stealing cargo and, you know, fighting Imperials or also other crime syndicates.
Yeah, for sure. And continuing on from the crime syndicate points, we saw a little bit in the content that we played today, especially in the last mission, at the end of the mission where we handed in the item that I cannot remember the name of, but we handed the item in over to the faction and we gained faction reputation with the Ashiki and we lost with the Crimson Dawn. Is there anything that you can sort of expand on that faction system? And you know, can we expect to maybe if we side with one faction too much, will we be locked out of anything? And can you expand on that at all?
So, you know, as an outlaw, your reputation is very important, and you can't be friends with everyone, even though you might want to. And Kay will have to navigate that underworld, and she will encounter these different syndicates and crime bosses, and it will be your choice, like on which contracts you want to go on, how you want to approach these missions. Do you want to side with Crimson Dawn, or are you going with the Shiga clan for this one? And for sure, this will have influence on the world itself. Some areas might be less accessible for you if you are not in a good standing with a certain syndicate, for example. So you have to be very smart about how you are going to navigate this underworld and how you are going to interact and who are you going to side with, who are you going to work with, who will become your enemies. So yeah, that will be very interesting for the player to see, like, hey, how am I going to get out of this one, for example. Yeah.
And from like a world perspective, on the same note, say if we have sided with, you know, X faction, if we come across, say, a camp of theirs while we're out in the world, will they be friendly to us? Will they be hostile? Like, what will that interaction look like just while out in the open world?
Yeah, exactly. There will be consequences. Just like if Imperial sees you committing something illegal, they will come after you. So there will be consequences for sure. So this is going to be translated in the open world. Like if you, like you mentioned really well, Marthe, you side with one syndicate, some others, if you have not a good reputation with them, they will probably come after you as well. But you're going to have more lucrative opportunities if you're good with a specific syndicate, for example. If you're good with the Hut Cartel, then you might have access to good, interesting vendors, interesting things, interesting contracts. So again, there will be good and bad sides.
Yeah, fantastic. Speaking on vendors and I guess in a way like that, some of that itemization in the game as well. Like we saw during the demo that we could change Kay's clothes a little bit, like change her pants and boots and like the jacket and things that she was wearing. It was locked at the time, but there's also for the blaster and everything. It looked like as well from some of those shops that there was some gear that gave buffs as well, like major increase to HP or whatever that may be. Is there anything, like, are we expected to, will we mostly find that gear from vendors? Will we find that sort of stuff out in the world? Do you know if there's any sort of set bonuses? We say if we wear, you know, we find all of like the survivalist set, right? Like, will we get any bonuses for wearing all three pieces in that set? For either one? Yep.
I can dive a little bit into the gear sets because it was a lot of fun to design them, because we wanted to make them look very Star Wars, but also very Kay. So, you know, we had to, Kay wouldn't wear anything. She has a style a bit. You know, she's a thief, so she needs, for example, comfortable clothing. And she has this tendency to pop up the color of her jacket, for example. So you will see that in the gear sets as well. But yeah, you will have a top part, pants, and a holster. And there will be different gear sets. There will be different ways to obtain them. Some you might find, some you might need to buy, or you know, you will find out. And they will have some gameplay statistics added to them. We also have transmogrification, so you will also be able to equip something that you like the looks of while still getting the stats of the sets that you have equipped, for example. So in that sense, there's a lot of customization possible that suits your playstyle.
And in a more fun, you can keep the mic, but on a funnier way, you can also add things to Nix. And this is something I want you to discuss about.
Oh yeah, there's also things for Nix. And again, for Nix as well, we designed things that, you know, you could imagine him finding somewhere, and then Kay being like, "Oh, that's nice. I'm gonna put that on you." And yeah, so you'll see. It will be very interesting.
Sticking with the Nix topic, I'm sure you had a lot of fun designing a brand. I'm pretty sure brand new species. Yep. In Star Wars. Can you talk a little bit about that process, and then maybe the interaction between Kay and Nix? And you know, as we expect, we'll upgrade Kay throughout our journey. Can we expect to upgrade Nix in any particular way in the interactions and their relationship?
I think the relationship between Kay and Nix is in the center of this story. That's why we always say, like, we don't have one main character, we have two. They're inseparable. And for the design of Nix, it's a Merkle. It's a new species that we designed at Massive, of course, in close collaboration with Lucasfilm Games. And he's from an unknown jungle planet. And you will see that in his design as well. You know, we had to find this balance between an animal that looks like it could survive on a harsh jungle planet. He has scales, he's quite strong. But at the same time, he needs to be very relatable. And for that, we looked at our pets. To get the inspiration of, like, how would you interact with a creature? How would you bond with a creature? And that's how we created this relationship. And it's very close, and he will help you throughout the game. He has his own personality. He has his own little obsessions. And yeah, you will find out in the game how that sort of develops. But yeah, it's definitely a game where you play together to find your way in the underworld.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Nix is one of the main selling points in terms of cuteness. Definitely for my partner, she's very excited for Nix. I think my favorite thing from just playing it in terms of the demo that we got to see is when you set Nix off to distract enemies and he would play dead and like roll over. I thought that was just the cutest thing. Thought that was really interesting. Is there any or specific things in terms of designing a game, like you said, with two main characters in terms of level design, creating those environments to make sure that Nix feels useful always, and there's something for Nix to do in those sort of scenarios, and whether it be open world or even in the the more linear mission structures?
So the way we approached it, for sure, we had this duo from almost the very start. We had that in mind. So this is why it was not at a retrofitting. We thought about these environments and these possibilities, opportunities that we could give to the players. Like, he can disable alarm for you in an Imperial compound, for example. He can fetch weapon in a crime faction territory. He can also, like you said, he has some obsession. So there is some quest where he's gonna do a little bit of noise and say to Kay, yeah, there's something interesting here. So you can follow him and find something at the end of the quest. So there are all of these different aspects that really complement Kay, complement her play style, or her way to fight. She has her blaster, she can sneak, she can stealth. But I think having of course, Nix is a true addition to this. It also gives players agency in their way to approach things. And yeah, of course, we thought about these environments and we designed them in a way to always give players an opportunity to use Nix, no matter if it's going to distract enemies or fetch something for you, or press a few buttons for you that you cannot access. There is plenty of things and opportunities for you.
Yeah, fantastic. I found one of my favorite things was to detonate stormtroopers' grenades. Just send Nix off to do that before the fight. I quite enjoyed doing that. And I also found on the third part of the demo where we were exploring through that city that Nix actually came across like a treasure location that we were able to sort of explore as well. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting part about the game is how Nix can sort of explore and do things, feel more like a character than just someone sitting on your back and not really interacting too much with the world. To pivot a little bit to more of a sort of progression-focused question, which isn't, I know, either of your guys' specific fields, but just wondering if you could sort of answer. We saw in the menu there's an ability screen with these NPCs that you can seemingly find throughout the world and then unlock skills through them. Do you have anything like sort of specific about how we find them? Is it we just as we progress through the game? Is it random? Well, not random, but you explore and you come across them, and about that skill system itself. Like, do we need to create some sort of relationship with these people before we unlock that?
Yeah, so in order to obtain new skills or upgrades, it's very smart to seek out an expert. And that's what you'll be have the opportunity to do in Star Wars Outlaws. Find certain people or aliens that have a certain skill that might be valuable for you. And it will be a journey in itself to find them. And also from there on, there will be, the story will progress. Things will happen. Maybe you need to do some extra gathering some credits or materials. Or so in this sense, you will gain the skills, but at the same time, it will be quite a story beat to it.
Very organic. Yeah.
Very organic, and you get to know these characters, and you will have to find out how that works. But it's super interesting because it makes sense in this world building of the scoundrel that she will need to learn things from the experts, and this is exactly what you'll be doing.
I think it echoes as well. Kay's personality. She's struggling to trust people. She's seeking freedom, and there is also a sense of she has to come out of her shell. She has to go and talk to people and discover more about other cultures and what she can learn by trusting others, what they can bring to her, because eventually you need to unite a cast of outlaws that will help you to perform like the greatest heist the Outer Rim has ever seen. So this is something as part of the narrative and as part of, we've crafted it with an organic way.
Is it, say, if I, for example, love the Crimson Dawn and I completely side with them, will I get locked out of any of the progression with any of the skill NPCs, like through the abilities? For either of you?
That's a very specific question. So I don't think we want to go into the detail that much at this stage. But like you mentioned, all the diversity matter of the crime syndicate, and we were really eager to display also the diversity in these bosses, in these characters, and show that they have also different behaviors, different outfits, and Kay is gonna discover that it's a difficult world to navigate for sure, and she needs to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got one more for you, and it's more of a fun one, and my editor, Nick, here would kill me if I didn't ask. But his favourite thing in Star Wars is pod racing. So he just wants to know if we can expect any forms of pod racing through either gambling, racing ourselves, seeing a pod racer, anything at all?
Well, if you are a true Star Wars fan, you might know that on Tatooine at this time, pod racing is forbidden by the Hutts. So it's something that, of course, we wanted to explore, but, we need to respect the story, we need to respect the lore, and if we want to stay true and consistent with this franchise, as we obviously want to do, and we put a lot of care in recreating Tatooine, but also adding new location for KNX to discover. You might know that pod racing is forbidden at this time between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Fantastic. You heard it here first. Send your hate mail to Jabba the Hutt for no pod racing. But thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. Yeah, really enjoyed the game. Thank you.